Hello everyone, I'm Adrian Beck. I'm a children's author and I'm also a proud ambassador for Dymocks Children's Charity.
Hello, I'm Sally Rippin and I'm also a children's author and also a very proud ambassador for Dymocks Children's Charity.
And hello everybody, I'm Jacqueline Harvey and guess what? I'm also an ambassador for Dymocks Children's Charities. And we've come together tonight in different parts of Australia just to have a quick chat about why we're ambassadors for the charity and what we love about children's books and reading, and I guess also to talk to you at this time where, you know, it's a really strange time in all of our lives, and we're staying home, we're with our families a lot more 24/7 than we ever would have been before, and just I guess how reading is impacting our lives in a really positive way. So I just wanted to ask Sally, what was it about the charity that attracted you to become involved?
I think what I really like about the charity is that it really aims to make sure kids all across the country from all kinds of demographics can get their hands on good books. And so there's so many ways that the Dymocks Children's Charity works, getting books into schools, getting books into homes. And you know a little bit more about this, Jackie, so you can fill us in. But it just feels like a really positive thing to be involved in. I mean, obviously as children's authors, everything that comes from our head that then goes onto the page, we want to get into the hands of kids. And it does feel like what the Dymocks Children's Charity does is make sure that it gets into the hands of a really broad range of kids. And so that's what I love about it.
Absolutely. And what you said about getting books into kids' homes at the moment, that's actually a new program which has come about because of the COVID-19 crisis. And so at the moment, the charity is having a fundraiser to raise money so that books can go to the most needy children who don't have access to their school library or to a public library. And, you know, it still beggars belief, really, that in this day and age in Australia, there are children who don't have books in their own homes. And so this is a fantastic way that the charity is still able to be supporting those kids who they would usually be supporting at school, but are now supporting in homes, which is fabulous. So I'm really pleased that that's been able to happen. And the other thing that they've been super successful with recently is raising money to buy books for schools that have been bushfire impacted. And as we know, we're all aware, Australia has sort of lurched from one crisis to another, and the charity's really adapted in that way, which is fantastic. So, and Adrian, I wanted to ask you, you have a little pile of books sitting in front of you, and one of them is, I can see Total Quack Up. Can you tell us a bit about the Total Quack Up project and how you and Sally collaborated on that, and you know how it all came to be?
Absolutely, yeah. This is a book, two books actually, that are really close to our hearts. And Jackie, we were so thrilled that you were able to be a part of them both too, which is awesome. Total Quack Up, well, I guess Sally and I just were catching up for a coffee at one point, and we were talking about all these things that we would like to do with books and how we'd like to help kids somehow. And we sort of zeroed in on the fact that Dymocks Children's Charity do exactly what we would like to also be doing. And so we thought, wouldn't it be great if we could somehow help the DCC? And we came up with, and because I'm a big fan of Paul Jennings, I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a collection of short stories? And if we could talk all our friends into helping out and writing completely for free, so that all the profits and the proceeds from the book go to Dymocks Children's Charity. We didn't know whether it was going to work. Sally said, oh, I don't know if this is going to work, Adrian. You come up with some crazy ideas sometimes. But she said, if you think it can happen, I'm going to support you.
And the really fun part that maybe you were going to go into, Adrian, was when we were putting the books together, you were a producer on Kids WB on Channel 9. And it was your idea to come up with the idea of having a child contribute to the collection as well. So that ended up being a really fun competition that was advertised on Kids WB, where kids from all across the country sent stories in, and the winning story got to be published in the book. And that was really fun because it really just expanded the reach of perhaps who you and I could have managed to get in touch with, and made it this really fun national competition that lots of kids sent in their stories.
I loved the fact that you incorporated a kids writing element to it, because that really, you know, there's one of the things I say to children who ask me all the time, you know, what can I do to help you know, in my journey as an aspiring writer? And I always say to them, seek out good competitions. And, you know, this was one of the best, because not only did you get to be published in a real book that was sold in shops, you know, I think there were TV appearances as well, which was pretty cool. And I know if I'd been, you know, a 10 or 11-year-old, that would have been like the best thing ever. So I think, you know, kudos to both of you for coming up with the idea. And I know that it's raised a lot of money for the charity. So, you know, it's fantastic. And I can say as a former teacher, that was the kind of book that every teacher should have on their desk, because, you know, you've got that 10, 15 minutes at the end of the day and you think, oh, I just want to read them a story, but I need something that's, you know, that's going to be not too long. And that's just perfect. So I know when I was going out to do school visits, I was springing it, saying to taking my copy and saying, you all need to have one of these on your desk. So I hope that worked. I wonder, Sally, do you have any stories about how reading and the coronavirus? Have you got anything you can share with us that's happened in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, I think what's happened is being home so much, because like yourselves, and I know, Jackie, you also divide your time between here and New Zealand, and I do travel a lot for my work, and I've got a little place up in the country that I go to write. And so I'm often, when I'm home, I'm very busy or I'm out and about, but because we're all really, really home, I've really got to know everybody in my street really well. And there happen to be lots of children in the street, and a lot of them have parents who are teachers, so they're very creative thinkers. And so there was one moment where every time I'd open the front door, there would be this beautiful little note or an illustrated fact or a painted stone. And one day I walked out my front gate and there were all these glorious chalk drawings on the pavement. And of course the kids were doing it in secret, and they were trying to make it like it was little fairies and pixies. But it was so wonderful because it lasted a couple of weeks, and it was almost like a way that we're all connected, because we're all in the same boat and we all have to find ways to rely on each other. And I think that's been the best thing that's come out of this time with me. I'm not getting as much reading done as I'd like, because I've got a son who's studying and I'm still working, but I've really got to know my neighbours, and it's been really, really lovely. And those are the good things that I think that have come out of this quiet time at home. Yes. Is really just focusing on the things that matter, about friendships and connecting with people you care about.
And cooking, lots of cooking, and lots of eating.
I know.
One of the lovely things that has come out of this is lots of lovely fan mail from kids, and lots of lovely messages about, you know, how reading is impacting them and how they're getting through. And I had, you know, one of my characters is Alice-Miranda, and I've had kids say, you know, that they've gotten through by asking themselves, well, how would Alice-Miranda handle this crisis? And I think, well, that's pretty cool to ask that. But one of the loveliest ones I'll just quickly tell you is in the very first Alice-Miranda book, there's a recipe for Nana Jones's apple pie. And I put it in there because my Nana is Nana Jones, and one of my, I guess my strongest memories of childhood is walking into her kitchen and the smell of her cooking this beautiful apple pie with cloves and this, you know, gorgeous short crust pastry. And a mum sent me a photo of her little girl the other day and said this was her little girl's summer, and she had saved up all her pocket money and gone and bought all the ingredients for the pie because she'd read about it in the book. And anyway, so then I told her that, you know, my nan's not, you know, she's 94 and a half, she's amazing, but she's had a few health issues recently. And anyway, when I told her, the mum, that, she sent me the photo of the apple pie successfully baked, and then the you know, the verdict from the family. And I was able to share that obviously online on a Zoom chat with my Nana in her nursing home. And it really just made her absolute, I think it made her month. You know, she hasn't had a lot of contact outside, or none really. And I think my mum saw her for the very first time for about 6 weeks today. So I love that, you know, through the books, that would never have happened if, you know, if it wasn't for books. So it was a lovely anecdote at this time. So I suppose we should probably wrap it up. And I know that Dymocks Children's Charities have got this fabulous YouTube channel now where teachers and children and parents can go to and look at some terrific resources. I know there's some chats with authors. There's a bit of an insight into authors' lives, and it's great to be able to go there and learn a bit about what the charity's doing to get books into the hands of children who need them the very most. So it's been great to catch up with you both. We, you know, we don't often get these opportunities, and in some ways, as you said, Sally, it's made us slow down and talk to people that we wouldn't, you know, we'd be ships in the night passing each other in airports, which is not going to happen for a while. Well, it's lovely to catch up with you both, and hopefully we'll see each other at a DCC event, the Great Debate, next year. That would be really good if we could all get to the Great Debate, which has sadly had to be postponed for this year. But I know Adam Spencer and Rob Carlton will be gunning to go for the 15th anniversary next year. So
love it. We'll see you then.
See you then.
Bye.